Hello everybody. I don't even know what to say. Apparently the network was pretty horrible and I didn't even get to find out until someone from the office had to draw my attention to it, and then I saw that most of you had already started complaining about the network. So I'm so sorry. I just changed network now, so hopefully this is going to be good. So welcome again, and sorry for the interruptions. Because the network was bad, I'm just going to be starting from the beginning. If you had joined us from the beginning and had heard some parts, please do not be annoyed if I'm repeating what I had said earlier. I just want to be sure that all of you're getting the whole gist that I have for you today. Now, so today we're going to be talking about securing your CAS. Like I mentioned earlier, it is not enough for you to have an unconditional offer. That will not translate into you getting your visa if you are looking to study in the UK for September 2022. Now, I am basing this information I'm giving you from the trends we have seen so far, right? Due to the applications that we're putting in, and then what happened during the April, May, and June intake. So we're predicting that something similar or even worse is going to happen for the September. Now, what we are seeing now is not compared to what we have seen ever before. Usually, things are not this rushed. Usually, things are not this difficult, right? So, if you're really hell-bent on going in September, this is the time to take action, and I'm going to be telling you things that are happening and what you can do to make sure that you are not left on the wayside, because this can actually cost you money, right? You know, some people have already made certain investments, certain decisions, and at the end of the day, you end up not getting your visa, or you end up not getting the documents that will enable you get your visa. So it is very paramount. I personally know someone who has lost millions because of what happened during this April, May, June, and now they have to wait defer to September, and millions are already gone. So please take this very seriously, because it's actually something that can actually save you time, money, and emotions, right? So I'm going to start from the very beginning, because I don't want to assume that everybody here has put an application for admission, and everybody knows what a CAS is. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. Like, say hi to Tumi is saying. So thank you. Say hi to me. I'm going to be starting from the beginning. Okay, so if you want to go to the UK to study, there are certain processes or procedures or steps that you have to take, right? So those steps would ensure that you are qualified to study and you are permitted to go and study at the end of the day, right? So the first thing you have to do when you decide is look for the school and the location that you're comfortable with, a cost that you're comfortable with, a tuition fee you're comfortable with, and then get all the documents. Please, if you can't hear me at any point, please just put it on the comments. I'm actively reading the comments as I'm talking to you, so I do not want to miss out on anything like I did the last time. So please put it in the comments. If I'm talking too fast, if you can't hear me, please put it in the comments, right? Okay, so once you do that, and then if I'm looking down, I have notes for you guys. So that's what I'm reading. I'm doing expo here. Okay, so the first thing is you gather your documents when you made the school selection. You make an application. Now, 3 things can happen when you apply to a school. You either get an offer. The offer can be a conditional offer or an unconditional offer. Now, a conditional offer, as the name implies, means that you have gotten an offer, which means they have deemed you fit to be in that course because of whatever it is that you have sent. However, there are certain documentations or certain things that they feel that you also need to provide to enable them be sure and then convert your conditional offer to an unconditional offer. So there are things like they might tell you to send an updated CV, an updated statement of purpose, maybe your passport is soon to expire. They might tell you to get a new passport. They might require you to actually write an English test. So if you have to write IELTS, depending on the course and the school, you might need to write an IELTS exam or any other accepted exam like the PTE, right? It might be that they want you to bring a work reference or an academic reference, or if you've used your personal transcript, that's unofficial transcript, they will ask you for the official transcript to be sent to the school. So it can be any of those things. So once you fulfill that, then they now convert your offer into an unconditional offer. What an unconditional offer means is that there are no conditions to be met. You have been deemed fit to go into that course, right? Now, getting an unconditional offer and then getting a visa, there's also steps you need to take, right? Because there's something in the middle called your CAS. Your CAS means your confirmation of acceptance of study, which means the school has confirmed that you have accepted to study with them, and they are now giving you a document that sponsors your study visa. So on your CAS, there are several informations that are there, and one of that information is your sponsor license, right? So that sponsor license actually gives you that right to be able to apply for a student visa, and it also applies to your dependents. So your dependents actually are also able to use that sponsor license to get their dependent visa. Now, the process that it takes to get unconditional from your unconditional offer to your CAS differs depending on schools, but most schools require you to send your bank statement, and your bank statement is supposed to be a 28-day bank statement that has all the funds you're supposed to need for the duration of your study, which is your tuition fee and then your maintenance cost. So let's just do a rough scenario. If your tuition fee is £10,000 round figure and you're going outside London, your maintenance cost for outside London is £9,207. Now, if you add £9,207 with 10,000, that's £19,207. That is the equivalent you're supposed to have in your account, and then you submit it to the school. Now, you need to have had that money for at least 28 days as at the time of submission. So you need to have started counting way before you have to actually submit. That's one. Then two, some other schools will also require credibility interview. Either credibility interview, or they might send you a questionnaire that you need to answer. So the questionnaire would have the questions that they probably would have asked you during the interview, such as what's your motivation for studying, have you had previous visa refusals, who's sponsoring you, things like that. So if you've actually applied to a school that will require a credibility interview, you have to schedule an interview, and they will call you maybe face to face or maybe telephone, depending on the school, and then they'll ask you questions, right? Now, some people fail this. So if you fail this, then it means that your unconditional offer is paper, right? You are not going anywhere. But if you pass this, then they now process your CAS. So also if they send you a credibility questionnaire, if you pass it, they also send you your CAS. But if you don't pass it, they send you a rejection. Now, the other thing that you can get that I didn't mention at the beginning of your maybe when you made an application is also a rejection. So they can outrightly reject you. So you don't even get to the process to the point where you actually have to start processing your CAS, right? Now, then there are some schools that do not require bank statements. There are some schools that require bank statement but do not require interview, right? So it just depends on the school. Now, this process, right? Initially, last year, we had just a handful of people who eventually could not get their CAS due to some things that were beyond their control, and sometimes due to their own fault, since they did not plan well or plan in time or appropriately, they didn't go along the timeline. So what happens is that when a school opens up the timeline for collection of CAS, there is a deadline. So if you do not fulfill the things you're supposed to fulfill before the deadline, such as submitting your bank statement, if by the time the deadline is approaching and your bank statement is not up to 28 days, it means you can't submit. It means that it is gone, right? That's one. Two, if you don't fulfill these things on time, and then you are not able to secure a date for interview, if they don't interview you, they're not giving you your CAS. Another thing I failed to mention is that yes, I mean some schools don't require bank statement, but when it gets to questions, I'm going to answer that. I also to mention that you also have to make your school fees deposit. So what is actually going to determine, aside these other things I just talked about, is your deposit. So depending on the school, you might be required to pay £2,000, £3,000, £4,000. Most schools, it's only Coventry that's off the top of my head now that I know that you have to pay about £8,000 before you travel, right? So, but most schools are within the figure of 2,000 to 4,000 to get your CAS. Even Coventry, you have to get pay 4,000, as at the time of getting your CAS and all that, right? But at the time you're getting to school, you need to have paid 8,000. So as I was saying, so those are the steps you need to take. Now, initially, people were able to take this step, rather easy. The steps that were not as easy was actually securing the visa because of the rush. So a lot of people wanted to get visa at the same time. There's a lag, you can't get dates, submit your biometrics. That was where we were getting issues. Now we came to 2022, and all of a sudden it's like every single person, maybe in Nigeria, has one person who is intending to study in the UK. So one thing has happened, right? There are lots and lots and lots of applications. Some schools that maybe say they open up for September intake, say in January, right? So that you can start making applications until maybe June, July, even August, they are still open for people to submit applications. These schools are already closing up some courses, sometimes even entire courses, because what? They are filled up. I can give you a school, University of Hull got filled up. By January, ending of January, most courses were filled up. By February, 98% of their courses were closed. I think as of now, it's only like 1 or 2 courses, and there are courses that people don't really go for, such as test of English. If you want to be an English teacher or stuff like that, you want to read a course in test of English as a foreign language or something like that. That's the course that's currently open. So imagine all courses ran out months before the deadline, the original deadline. Now what's happening is that schools that normally we get just a couple of hundreds of applications for each course because they have maybe limited amounts of seats are now getting thousands. So you find out that most courses now have thousands of people applying for them, which means that they are closing out on time. Aside that, right, it also means that you now have more people with more offers. So let me paint this scenario for you. If you have 10,000 applications, right, and you have maybe just 100 seats, but let's say 300 people meet the criteria, you go ahead and give all the 300 people admission because they meet the criteria, right? Now what then happens is there is going to be another eliminating factor. The eliminating factor will now be those who can complete the steps on time to secure their CAS. Now what we saw in April, May, June intake was that a lot of schools that had admission intake around that time gave out admission. We just giving out admission. Okay, you're coming, you qualified. Okay, fine, take, right? But with your admission, you will get a mail telling you not to move forward, that they've already gotten enough payments. Did you hear me? Enough payments. It means that before you even get a mail that, oh, go and make your payments, people have already paid to secure their places. So it means that the course is full. They cannot take beyond their capacity because these schools pay for their CAS. That's that sponsorship that they're able to sponsor you. They actually pay the UK VI for it. That's the UK government, immigration or whatever. They actually pay for it, and they have a limit. So once they have gotten to that limit and they have given out in the amount of CAS that they have capacity for that course, it ends. So even with your offer, you're not able to do anything with it. And so people have already started, their bank statements. So people have already made payments, right? So because make payments, you need to do a Form A, right? Now, if you raise a Form A and payment hasn't dropped, and another person's own has dropped, it means they'll give the other person that has dropped. But you have already paid thousands of pounds to a school, and the school is telling you, no, don't bother paying again. We don't have spaces for you. Your money is sitting down there, thousands of pounds is sitting down there. Do you know the process of actually telling them to return your money? I don't know if you understand. The process is long, and I have people currently in this dilemma at this point because they're trying to retrieve their money that they paid for April, May, June intake, so that they can now make a decision to go in September, right? So now for September, you're now having most courses are closed. Like if you want some popular courses, maybe like social works, Public health, maybe you still find only 1 or 2 course schools. Data science, most are closing out. Nursing, adult nursing, things like that. They've closed. And every single day, as in before I started this live, I just got update on 2 to 3 schools that have actually closed, admission applications for certain courses, right? Every day you get updates. That's food. I think it was yesterday or the first day. That's food just sent in a message saying that they're no longer accepting payment. This one is not even an application now. They're no longer accepting payments for people who have offers into MBA and international business, right? International business courses and then MBA. So that means that they've actually given out offers, and enough people have actually paid for those courses. So once that happens, and probably you already have one offer, it means that is gone. It's gone, because even if you're looking to apply to other schools, you might not get the course you want, or you might not get the location you want, or you might not get the price you want. So most of these things are happening in the schools that actually have very affordable pricing. So schools that are within the pricing of, say, 10,000 to like 14, 15,000, they are closing up fast. But you see schools that are like 18, 19, 20, 21, 24,000, well, they still have some of these courses available. So if you don't mind, doubling your the money that you want to pay to school in the UK, if you don't mind that, then obviously there are still some options for you. But if you are very particular about the money that you have available for you to school, then the time to take action is now. Okay, so I have some pointers. I think I've been talking everywhere. I need to look at my pointers so that I can actually be sure what I'm saying to you. So like I said, there is no guarantee that you can get offers. That you can get your CAS. So what can you do? I've just told you now that people are losing out. People are, even at the application stage. A client just called me yesterday, and unfortunately she got an email. We put in the application, as at the time we put in the application, it was still open, and all of a sudden she's getting an email yesterday saying that the course is full, that she's not going to be able to get an offer. They are not even considering her application because it is already full. They've already hit capacity, so you're not even going to consider it because they've hit capacity. So it's at that stage, right? So what can you do to ensure that if you really want to go in September, and you don't want to waste your time, you don't want to waste money, you don't want to waste funds, right, that you actually secure September? Or even if you're planning to go in January, what can you start doing now so that everything is seamless? And I want to also bring your notice to the fact that visa processing is now 6 weeks, right? So the normal, because of what's happening in Ukraine, is that there is no more priority, right? And visa processing can stretch for up to 6 weeks. Now, I'm going to tell you what we have seen so far for the visas that we've been applying. Usually it's actually still 3 weeks for most study visa and even dependent visa. But come September, you all know there's going to be a rush. So obviously I don't work with the Home Office. I can't tell you that they will not start reaching that 6 weeks that it's supposed to take, right? So how are you going to be able to secure your visa in time if you do not actually act in time? That's also something you need to consider. And I want to tell you what happened to someone who, wasn't able to do certain things in time, got her visa, got to UK, and had to return. Okay, so she had gotten her admission, gotten her CAS, applied for visa, got the visa maybe after after her course had started, but she was still able to resume. Got to school. Now, because all these things were done late, she did not activate her Form A. Form A is what you do with the Nigerian bank so that you are able to pay your school fees, in a foreign country, right? So they'll pay at government's approved rate for you. But it takes time. Usually before, you can have it in 2 weeks to 4 weeks and a credit. But now it's stretching up to 2 months. Right, so you see that it's actually now stretching a lot and it's taking a lot of time. So what happened was she got to school, started, but as of the deadline for payment of 50%, because when you get to school you have to actually make up 50% of your tuition fee, the money had still not dropped. So it was on the day the thing closed, the money finally dropped. After it dropped, there was nothing the school could do. And she couldn't stay back because it meant that she was no longer a student. She had to come back with all the things that she had done. She had to come back, had to defer, because the admission was for January, had to defer to September. And she's back in Nigeria. She's going to process another visa come September. But the good thing is she has already made payment of 50%. So it just goes into the next, into the next session, right? But this is someone who has already invested a lot, and you've already gone, your family has already had visa, everybody's coming back to wait till September. So just imagine. Then another one that happened as well, still the same issue of not making payments in time. The minute they got their visa out was when the school, they were still in Nigeria, they had not even left, was when the school sent them that they had revoked, they had deferred them automatically. Why? Because their money did not drop. They did Form A, and this was a January application, sorry, a February. The intake, the start was in February. So as of March, they were still around. So they were supposed to make payments, right? They made the payment. Money didn't drop. It was after the school sent message, they went to the bank, they were able to scatter the bank and everything. Bank finally sent it, but the school did not budge. You have visa at hand, or admission has already been deferred automatically. You cannot go anywhere. The visa is wasted. IHS fee is almost 600,000 to 700,000 naira aside the visa fee. So cumulatively, you're paying like 900,000 per person. It's gone. And imagine a family of 4 or 5. That's 3.something million, 4 million. So even if you're getting anything back, you might make application to get your IHS fee back. But all your visa fees are gone. That's hundreds of thousands down the drain, right? So all I'm saying now is I'm telling you how to secure your CAS so you can secure your visa. But it still boils down into making sure that once you even secure the CAS, you are in time to actually start your visa, because there's no more priority. Priority, you could have gotten your visa out in a week. Now you have to do standard, which is minimum of 3 weeks, and it can reach up to 6 weeks. So you see that everything is just jumbled, right? So I've been talking about what's happening. Let me now talk about what you can do, so that you don't feel like this girl, you're a bearer of bad news. I'm not bearer of bad news. I am bearer of good news, and I want to tell you what you can do to make sure that this is not your case. I care about you. Nexi cares about you, and we always want you to have the right information to be able to make decisions that can make a difference in your life, right? Okay, so what can you do? Now, the first thing that you can do is, please do not dilly-dally. Now, I have a couple of people I'm talking to, right? We have you want, most times we advise you, please apply to multiple schools, because you can apply to this one, they'll deny you. They'll be like, oh, you do not fit, what we want for this particular course, or you can get a conditional offer that you can't meet. So sometimes they may ask you to write IELTS. Do you know how long it takes you to write IELTS? IELTS is not something you just can write because you want to write. You need to prepare. So me, normally, I'm not quoting anybody here. Normally, when I tell you to write IELTS, I tell you minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. That's what you need to train intensively, because you're writing IELTS academic, right? So you can get the desired score across all the bands, not just in speaking. You get high and then your listening is low. Across all the bands, you need to give them enough attention to be able to pass it. And then when you write it, you have to also wait for like another 1 week if you're writing the computer, or 2 weeks if you're writing the paper based. So imagine like a month plus before you can actually fulfill that, produce an IELTS result. And that is even if you pass, as at with the required score that the school actually intends for you to have, right? So when that offer comes, some people will be like, okay, no, I don't want to write IELTS, I don't want to write an exam. So usually we'll tell you, you have the ability to actually apply to multiple schools. So sometimes you can have multiple offers, right? One is conditional, one is unconditional, or you can even have unconditional offers up to 2 or 3. Now, what some people do is that maybe we have done some applications for you, right? And then you've gotten one offer. Then this is an offer that came in 2 weeks, and you're waiting for other schools that their offers are going to probably come out in another 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, because some schools are now taking up to, like I said earlier, they are now having loads of applications. So some schools are overwhelmed, so they are not able to meet up with the timeline that they were able to meet up before. So imagine you are now waiting a couple more weeks for that one to come out, that you don't even know if you're going to get an unconditional offer. Meanwhile, you're not paying for the one that you already have on ground. until all of a sudden you're getting a message that don't worry, don't pay again, we already have enough people. So what I advise is, once you get, because before you made a decision to actually go to a particular school, you've already seen that you want this course, the location is okay, the fees are okay. I don't know if anybody here, oh, network, you can't hear me, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I hope you can still make out what I'm saying, because I don't want to end this live. Okay, so before you made a decision to go for a particular school, you have already seen the course fee, seen the location and all that. Obviously you have a preferred choice, right? But this is not the time to be saying you're waiting for a preferred choice, because there's no time. So what we advise is, once you get your first conditional offer, and it's actually okay, right? Once you get your conditional offer and it's actually something that you actually wanted from the start, go ahead and start. Make payment. It takes 1 to 2 months for your money to drop. Now, some schools would agree to, when you send them your telex, they can use that pending when the money drops. But some schools want to see their money. So it's either that, or if you have somebody in the UK or US or anywhere that can actually help you pay, because it's more direct. But the problem with that is it means you're going to be paying with the black market rate. So I don't know if you have that kind of money to actually make payments, with the black market rate. But if you do, that's advisable. But if not, it's best you just go and, start processing the form A, and all this is all done online, right? Process it and make sure you're part of the first people that have made payment for that course. So you just secure your place, right? Then the next thing you need to do, if it's a school that does credibility interview and you are a student or one of our students, please secure your interview training, because you need to pass it. If it's a questionnaire, we will tell you to do it, and then we'll review, on your behalf to make sure that it meets standard that would actually make you to get the offer. But if it is an interview, we'll train you. So if you're not in Lagos, or Abuja, we'll do a virtual training for you. But if you're in Lagos, you come to the office, we sit down in the office, and one of our counselors will train you and do mock interviews with you to increase your chances of passing, so you don't lose out on that admission, right? So starting these things on time, it's really good, because imagine when the rush comes, how many are we? We're not thousands now, we're not hundreds, and we have hundreds of people that we get offers for. So imagine we have to schedule 10 people, 20 people per day for interview. It might actually get to the point where even for us it becomes difficult. So the best thing for you to do is start now, so that when it gets to that point, it's people that didn't start early that will start facing those problems, right? But your own, you have started, and you have gotten out of whatever mess that you could have put yourself in. Do you get? So once you have done that, then you need to know when your CAS is going to close. Usually they will give you a date. So they'll give you a date of when it will open and how long it will run for most schools. But if they don't give you a date because they might give you a date of when it will open and not when it will close, call the school or talk to your agent. If we are your agent, talk to us. When is this CAS closing? We can talk to them directly. We have our partner, we have our reps. We can talk to them and say, when is the tentative closing date, even if they have not fixed it. Why is this important? Because you need to start counting your bank statements. Like I said, last year, not a lot of people, because we give out information. People lost out on admission because, unfortunately, before the deadline for CAS before it gets the deadline for CAS, the bank statement is not complete. So it's like 20 days, 21 days, 22 days, and the school will not accept it. They won't accept it. So it has to be 28 days, complete. So if, say, your school communicates with you and say it's starting in May for collection of CAS, you can start now. Have the money domiciled in 1 or 2 accounts that you want to use, and then let it start running, so that on the 29th day you can now print the 28th day statement and then submit to the school, right? After obviously you have made your payment. So once you have done this and secured your CAS, you can then start your visa application. Do you know that you can apply 6 months before your course start date for your visa? yes, you might not be able to travel because when you can only travel 1 month before your course start date. So let's say your course is starting on the 19th of September. You can only travel from like 19th or 20th of August. That's when you can actually enter into the UK. But you can apply for your visa up to 6 months before your course start date. So why do you want to wait until when people are... Did you know that last year people were sleeping at the biometric center all night? People spent 2 days. This lady I talked about that lost out on her admission at the end of the day because the money did not drop. She spent 3 days. 3 days. She will go, spend the night, secure a place and all that. By morning, you know, everything has scattered. They are taking the people that actually have appointments for those days. She go home, change it, come back again, spend the night. It took the 3rd try before she was able to do walk-in. And as you all know now, there is no more walk-in. The TLS and UKVI, they have cancelled walk-in. So you can't even hold your 42,000, get to the gate and tell them, please, I want to do walk-in. There's no more walk-in. So if you don't have an appointment, you cannot go to the visa center. You can't go to the visa center if you don't have appointments. So I'm telling you now, people are losing offers, people are losing admissions, and visa is now going to take longer because of what's happening in Ukraine. Unfortunately, people are dying in Ukraine, and I wouldn't say that we should be sad about it because they should be able to do as much as they can to be able to help as many people live a normal life. So if they want to prioritize people from Ukraine, I don't see that as a bad idea. What that means for you is to now take action when you're supposed to take action, right? Because if you don't take action on time and you're getting your CAS or whatever late, even at the point of visa, it might still affect you and you might still lose out on the admission finally after you have paid pounds. Do you get? So please, 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 let me see if I still have any other thing I haven't spoken about. Then I can now start taking questions. I know we had interruptions earlier, so we're going to do this beyond 12 o'clock, and I'm going to take as many questions as I can. But I want to also be sure that I have finished saying what I wanted to say. Okay, so I think I have actually said everything I put down. So I am now open for questions. So if you have questions, drop it in the comments. I'm going to be prioritizing the ones that have actually come before now. So I'm going to be scrolling up and then taking the questions. So anything you feel I haven't spoken about, please, this is your time to ask, because you might not see me here. We have other lives planned for, you know, other people. So, and I like in the visa department, so you actually have expo if you want to ask me questions. Yeah, so ask me now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so I'm scrolling in case you notice. You mean some schools don't require bank statement? Yes, I mean some schools don't require bank statement, like University of Hull now that has completely closed down since February, right? They don't require bank statement before you actually get your CAS. So you just make your deposit of £2,000. Once they confirm that, they give you your CAS. So there are a few schools like that. Few schools. Okay, so I'm looking for questions. Okay, so how many months will it take my dependents to join the UK? So it depends. So if you want to, at the point of application, when you're applying, you can actually go with your dependents, right? But what we advise, right? What we advise is that you shouldn't go beyond 6 months after your course has started. You shouldn't go beyond 6 months after your course has started, because at that point, what are they coming to join you for? You know, you're almost finished. So once you, let's say you have a September intake, you go in September, October, November, December, January, February. So by February latest, they should be joining you. Because if they don't join you, you know, before your course runs out and you want to do your 2-year post study work visa, you cannot add dependents at that point. So you have to have added them from when you were studying. So usually what we'll tell you is you have maybe like up to 5 months after your course has started. So on the 5th month when you submit, it now takes a process, maybe like 3 weeks or thereabout for them to get their visa. So cumulatively, it can be like up to 6 months after you have started. But usually, what our advice is 3 months after you've gone, you know, you can apply for them. So on the 4th month, as at the time you're in the UK, they come to join you. So that's what I advise. Don't wait until it's too late, because if it's too late, they will not give them their visa if it is close to your completion. But if it's a 2-year course, that's for a 1-year course. If it's a 2-year course, it can actually run longer than that. So that's for a 1-year course. Please, this part of CAS, you need to throw more light on it. You can't start putting your money up for bank statement when admission isn't outright. No, please, oh, if you started this, hey God, don't go and put money in the bank. If you started this live with me, I said there's a process. The first thing you do is you choose your school, choose your course, be comfortable with the payment, the tuition fee and payment structure. Then you get your documentations ready. Then 3 things can happen. Either you get a conditional offer, an unconditional offer, or a rejection. If the conditional offer meets the conditions and then it turns into an unconditional offer, or you get an unconditional offer outright. It's after you get an unconditional offer that you can put in for CAS. Now, it now also depends on the school. If the school requires you to show a bank statement, they will tell you when they are going to start. You can upload, when they are going to start expecting you to upload your bank statement. So using that timeline, you should know that you should start before that time or during that time, because it's actually a couple of months. Do you get? So let's say it starts maybe May 1st. Let me not choose May 1st, and it's going to end maybe sometime in July. You can start May 1st, count your 28 days and still upload. So please, it should be within the period or close to the period when it's going to open. But be mindful of when it's closing, because if you start late, you will still not be able to upload, you know, after, you know, the CAS shield has closed. Or even if you're uploading maybe like 1 or 2 days before the portal will close, you might still not get, because they need to also process it in time to give you your CAS. I don't know if you understand. So we've had cases of people uploading on the day or a day before the portal was supposed to close, and they didn't get their CAS because they still said it was too late. So that's what I mean. Please, you've not gotten admission, you don't have any business having the money in your account. If you have it in your account, fine, but maybe gathering all your resources to have it in an account until you get an unconditional offer and you are actually halfway in the school. That's when you start counting. Are there schools that doesn't do a credibility interviews? Yes, there are a lot of schools that don't do credibility interviews. What they do is they send you a questionnaire. There are a lot of schools, yeah. So yes, so it just depends on the school. So if you talk to us and you want a school, we can tell you, okay, this school does, this school doesn't. But then again, there are lots of schools that used to do credibility interview, but all of a sudden our clients have gotten offers, and then we're receiving emails that they've started credibility interviews. For instance, the Montfort, right? They didn't used to do credibility interviews. All they do is they send you a questionnaire, right? So now, in addition to the questionnaire, they now want to start conducting credibility interviews. So this September session is going to be the first set of credibility interviews that they're going to be doing. So even if we tell you this school doesn't do interview, they have the discretion to decide if they are going to end up doing interviews or not. So a lot of schools don't do it if you are scared of actually doing interview. What are your charges for admission and visa application? So we don't charge for admission and visa application for the main applicant. So if you're working through us, it's a completely free service. We'll put in the application for you and the visa. But if you have dependents, we do charge for your dependents, but that's at the visa stage, right? So per dependent is 50,000. However, if you're much, we can actually talk about maybe discounts or whatever, but that's what we charge. And I'm putting it out there because I want to make it public. It's a public list. So if you have people who maybe they already have spouses abroad and they want to do their visas, process their visas, you can always refer them to us, right? Because that's actually what we charge. You didn't talk about the TB test. Okay, it depends on the school. Some schools will require your TB test, some schools will not require it, right? So one of the things you have to do for your visa is actually submit a tuberculosis test. That's very important. If you don't have it, just forget, right? But when it comes to submitting documentation for the school, it depends on the school. So I should have mentioned it. Thank you, Adnamoyi. Oh, sorry, I'm confusing your name. But I'll just say Ni. That's take uni. So some schools will require you to send your TB this thing, but some schools will not require. So for instance, if say there are some schools that are starting their CAS this April, that's for September intake, and your tuberculosis is going to last for just 6 months. Imagine you're going to submit it say in May, right? So you have May, right? You now have June, July, August, September, October, November. Some people don't want to do it at that time because you don't even know when you're going to be able to travel. So aside the fact that you're going to, so if you do it April, it might be ending October, right? So aside the fact you're going to be traveling, you might be traveling late. I mean, aside the fact that you need it for your visa, and at the time you're landing in the UK, it needs to also be valid. So some people don't want to do it too close to when they are supposed to land in the UK. Do you get? So you have to be conscious so that you have enough stretch. If not, you have to repeat the tuberculosis test. So some schools will not require it, but if you are fortunate, I won't say unfortunate, if you are fortunate to to be going to a school that requires it, then you would have to upload it. That will be communicated to you. For school that requests for bank statement before CAS issue, will the fund have to cover for principal applicant only, or it has to include dependents? Okay, so principal applicants only. So ideally, it's just you that they know, right? But if you want to declare that you have dependents and you also want to have the dependents money there, it's fine. There's no problem with that. But typically or ideally, it has to be what you will need for you and for your maintenance and your studies. But if you have dependents and you're all going to apply for visa, immediately your CAS is out, and you want to use the same bank statement for your visa application, you can have everybody's money there and then use that same bank statement to apply, because you can use a bank statement that is still valid for 30 days after it has been printed. So if you do that and your CAS is issued a week later, you can do your visa the next week, submit, and then with that same bank statement. So some people do that. So it all depends on you. How about GUC London? How about GUC? But what exactly about GUC? What is the question, please? Maybe you can say G vocals. Please resend the question. Hello, hi Joe. Okay, what do you know of the University of South Wales, please? In terms of what? In terms of CAS, in terms of the fees. Oh, I'll probably need to open my system. We have hundreds of universities. I might not be able to pick and choose universities, but I know we work with South Wales. Yeah, I think it's one of the schools we work with. If you need more information, please can you just send one of our counselors information? I mean, a DM, a message. They have their links on. We have their links on their bio. So whatever information in terms of their school fees, if they require bank statements, if they require credibility interviews and all that, they'll be able to give you specific information. Can the name of the school that doesn't need bank statement? Can I get the name of the school that doesn't need bank statements? Okay. What comes off the top of my head right now? They are not much. What comes off the top of my head right now is University of Hull, which is closed. The two I have off the top of my head. They are quite. Can you go with your dependents? Yes, you can go with your dependents. That's why a lot of people are going to the UK. If not, people will be going to Ireland, because Ireland is also a very, very good option for those of you who are considering studying in Ireland. Where do you get a very reliable agency that helps you proof of funds at a very cheap rate, not the ones that will Okay, please, I cannot comment on this because we don't do proof of funds, and I can't comment on this. I'm sorry, we don't have information on that. Thanks for answering my question. You're very welcome, Haji. Can I have the names of school that doesn't ask for bank statements? I just mentioned 2 schools. There might be more, so please just send us a message. We'll let you know. But those schools, there are also other things. If you have the course that you want, if the course is still open, if it's in a location that you want, things like that. So, what of the University of Hull? Do they need bank statement? No, as of now, Hull does not require bank statement, but they are closed. So if you are looking at Hull, it's till next year September, and they only have 1 intake per year, so it's just September, right? However, they are looking at other intakes such as January and May, but we don't know when that is going to start. But as of now that I'm talking to you, they only have September. So if you're looking at University of Hull, you have to be thinking next year. Can HND travel with family and dependent? Yes, HND can travel. There are a couple of schools who accept HND in combination with your work experience. So yes, and if they give you direct masters, you can travel with your dependents. So you can message us and then we'll give you more information. How do you know the University of South Wales, please? Okay, what do you know? I think I've already answered this. I don't have specific information on this, but I know we work with South Wales. So please give us a chat any of our counselors and they'll give you more information. What do you know about? It's the same question. How much is for each dependent? How much are you talking about our fees? We charge 50,000 per dependent. However, when you have multiple dependents, we do give discounts, so you most likely will not be paying 50,000 per head. But if you're asking about how much your dependent will need for visa application, they will need to pay your IHS depending on if you're doing a 1 year course or a 2 year course or an 18-month course. So their visa fee plus IHS might be from 800 and something up to like 1.2 million per person for the UKVI. Then for their maintenance cost, they have to have each of them 6,120 pounds in their account. So if you have 3 dependents, so that's 6,120 pounds times 3 has to be in your bank account for them. So that's the calculation. Do you guys cover Canada schools? Yes, we also cover Canada schools. So if you're interested in Canada, give us a call. Drop us a message. What do you know about University for Creative Arts? Is that a university for creative arts, or do you want to do creative arts? Now we haven't talked about this before, but I am particularly interested in actually bringing out courses that people do not even know are very lucrative, right? I'm not going to talk much on this because everybody here came for CAS, but there are some courses that are very lucrative that people don't know about. Things like graphic design, any course in creative arts, interior designs, things that you have to be creative to be able to do, like product design, things like that. They are very lucrative courses, and most of them are even on the UK shortage list, which means that they need people that even have these skills. So it's not just only about you want to have a medical background. If you don't have medical background and you don't want to convert to medicine, rather to a medical background, and you have a creative background, then you're also in luck because you're also needed, right? Can a 3-month-old married dependent go with main applicants? Yes, you can go with your main applicants, but you're doing your visa application. We'll just make sure to prove that you are really married and you do not marry for the purpose of going. So yes, obviously you can. You're married. Is it advisable to do a TB now, if though you don't need it? It's for the visa. Please do it closer to your visa. Maybe if you are going to apply for your visa what you can do now is go to the site. Sorry, we had a connection problem. What you can do is go to the site and try to pick a date. Just secure your dates, right? But get it close to when you're actually applying for your visa, so that you have validity for long. Because we've had cases where people have to redo their TB because their visa took long, or at the time they got their visa, they couldn't travel at that time, so they started their courses online and the TB expired, so they had to now redo another TB. Can your dependent depart with main applicants? Yes, dependents can apply with you and depart on the same day with you. Dependent is seen as you because, like I said, they use the same sponsorship license that's contained in your CAS for their visa. So yes, they can go with you. I haven't gotten my own conditional offer yet, but the month for the month of university, I have fulfilled the conditions. Okay, so once you fulfill the conditions, you need to wait. If you fulfill the conditions and you are certain that the conditions will be met and you will be given an unconditional offer, go ahead and make your payments, right? Go ahead and make your payments because it takes a while. Hi, you spoke about Form A. Please tell us when to apply for this to avoid failing deadlines. Bank statement, Form A, CAS, visa. Okay, now for Form A, first of all, anybody that's having issue with NIN, go and rectify it. If your NIN is not working, you have issues, whatever, do whatever it is to rectify it, because if your NIN doesn't work, you will not be able to register on the site. Now, once you use your NIN to register on the site, then you can now create a Form A form, right? Put the details of what you want to pay, the amount you want to pay, upload your CAS and your offer letter, right? Your CAS, your offer letter, and the amount you're supposed to pay and all that, and then choose the bank you want to make this payment with. So once you choose the bank, you have to have that money in the bank account that you have selected, and then when they have processed this, accepted it, they will deduct the money. But it's the process of deducting that money now that's not the problem, right? Because it takes a while. So that's what you do. So if your NIN is not working, there's no magic. So first of all, go and make sure your NIN is good. Then go to the website, I think tradesystem.org. Google it, tradesystem.org. Try to register. If you have any issue with your NIN, it will tell you outright. Once you do, either go to the bank to try and rectify it, or go to the NIN center to try and rectify it, so that you don't have problems when it gets to that point. If your that doesn't work for you, it means you need to pay through someone in the UK, and that's black market. What is the acceptable marriage certificate duration needed? Marriage certificate duration, I don't understand. Like, how long should you have been married? You can have been married 2 days before you apply for your visa, as long as you can prove that the relationship has been for a while. So what we will do in that case, let me just give you some expo on how we do our visas, is to show pictures of you guys, how you've been dating over the years. So if you've been dating for like 3-4 years, you should have pictures and evidences of your relationship. So we show that, okay, you've been dating for this long, but your marriage is new, which is fine, right? But if you don't have that, I don't know, you can still put it in. Please throw more light on lucrative costs. Okay, we're going to do another live on that, because if I do this, I'm sure a lot of people are going to log off, right? Because they are here for CAS. So, but we have several lucrative costs in the creatives, in the health, and even in the business. So we're going to do a special live on that, and then tell you what you can go for. So the beautiful thing about the UK is that it is not restricted to only one type of profession. Now, the easiest one for people to want to go into is in medical or health, because there's always jobs. There are always jobs. The one thing you can do to actually look at the kind of jobs that are currently in shortage is to Google shortage list in the UK. So there's, on the government website, there's a list of all the jobs that they have shortages on. You can go there and find different kinds of jobs and all that. So that will give you an idea on the kind of course that you can do. How early can a newborn baby travel with the mother who got study visa? I think as early as when if he has a passport and the baby is old enough to travel, maybe like 2-3 months, then you can travel. There is no, as long as she has a passport and you've already gotten a visa for her. If it is the airline who accepts to carry such a small baby, then she can travel. But if you are the main applicant and tending to a child, it might be very difficult for you to actually school and tend to a child. Okay, if you're going with your dependent as a family, proof of fund will be in the main applicant account or dependent account. So if you're going with your family, it can be in your account, or it can be in a joint account with your spouse, right? So either of the two is fine. Your account, joint account, but let it be in your account. So let it not be in your dependent account, which is your spouse, on your behalf, because you need to now start, having documentation to prove that money is accessible to you. The person is willing to give you that money if the need arises, and all that. So they want to be sure that the money is accessible to you, right? So they don't want stories that you now get there, your spouse now say they are not giving you the money again, things like that. So the best way to just avoid unnecessary things, because they might actually even send you a message to say you should send this document or that document to prove. The best thing is have it in your account or have it in a joint account. Your parents can also sponsor you as well. So your parents will also have to sign a sponsorship letter. They'll believe a parent more because obviously they're parents, right? And they want to sponsor you. But what we advise, just have it in your account. Since it's for 28 days, you can have it in your account. I got an unconditional offer with JMU and I have paid deposit and my tuition fee and I've sent telex up to the school. What else do I do? Because they have not heard from the school. Okay, so you are on the clear, right? So just wait until you get an update from them. If you are also going to be selected for a credibility, that means if you have uploaded your bank statement, then if you're going to be selected for credibility interview, then they'll probably let you know, right? But just wait for an update. You are on the clear. You still have a lot of time. So congrats to you, Toyin Eddie. You are the kind of people that I like to hear about. I'm looking forward to switching from mass communication to business, but I know nothing when it comes to mathematics. Can I still do a business course? Okay, it depends on the business course. If you're going to for a business course that has to do with finance, accounting and stuff, you must know mathematics. There's no running away from it, right? But if you're going for a general business course or business course under marketing, the mathematics you have to do will be minimal. Then you can't run away from maths when it comes to business. Some form of maths, not like typical maths, but some form of maths, because you have to be able to calculate money. You have to be able to know that your business is being profitable. You have to be able to know figures and numbers, right? So you should be ready for some kind of maths, but not very much maths. If you're doing like international business or something in marketing or international HR, you know, it's also under business. So those ones will not have as much maths as you have in finance or accounting. Do you get? So, but please just open your mind up to still doing things that will be related to maths or calculations, because you cannot run a business or make business decisions without being critical and analytical, and it only takes calculation and maths to be able to get critical analytical skills. Okay, what's the question? Instead I jumped the question. Okay, so I'm going to stop very soon because this is 1:16. Maybe in another 5 minutes I'm going to stop. So please, what is the question? Emi Zaza, please, what's the question? Can you put it back? Let me read. Let me answer it. Will the NHS paid after visa application or before visa? Okay, NHS is paid during your visa application. So once you filled your form, you hit pay your NHS. When you've paid your NHS, you hit pay your visa application. So it's one form. You must pay both of them before you can go and pick a date to submit your biometrics. And all of you, if you have dependents, everybody's going to pay for that as well. Thank you very much, Hajmology and Wisdom. Oh, God bless me. Oh, thank you very much. God bless you too. You have flat batch. All right, no problem. I'm almost ended. If there's anything you need to know, just come back. We're going to post this on our page. I have a conditional offer in University of Law on condition that I update test of English, which is IELTS on the exam from the school. Which one do you advise? Okay, so the IELTS is 33,000 and you need like 3 weeks to prepare. The University of Law offers their English test and it's free and you have up to 2 tries. So just register for their own. If you fail the first one, I'm not assuming you're going to fail, right? But if you fail the first one, you also have an opportunity to do another one. So with what you have done in the first one and more practice, I'm sure you should be able to ace the second one, and it's totally free. Rather than spending 83,000, I'll go with that one. But if you have multiple schools, because IELTS can be used for any school and it's valid for 2 years, you might want to write the IELTS so that you can use it for any other thing, right? But if it's just University of Law and you want to go to University of Law, then take the English test. We also work with University of Law, so if you want maybe more details on that, you can please hit us up and we can give you more information. I have gotten admission and even paid my deposit, but the school insists that issuing CAS starts in June. Is that normal? Yes, some schools, well, that's when they want to start. Some schools are starting earlier, which is in May. Some schools want to start in June. Even before now, it used to even start later. But it's because they know that visa application is going to take longer now, so they're even starting earlier, and because they know you can apply way before you even need to travel, which is, you know, maybe in September. So what you can do is, if you're starting in June, right, from May you can already start counting your bank statements, right? So maybe from middle of May or something like that, depending on when they're starting in June. I don't know the date, but when they communicate the date to you, calculate a month in between when to start and when it opens, so that you're among the first to upload your bank statements. What should an intending student do now? So what you have to do now is make hay, or is it make haste while the sun shines? If I was speaking English for you guys, make haste. So what you need to do now is, there are still courses available, there are still schools that are available that are accepting offers, and they're accepting applications every day. Some might now be more pricey than others because the cheaper ones are almost out. So most of the ones that are available now might be a bit pricey, yeah. But if you still want admission, you can get. So what you need to do is make sure that you get your documentation, so that once you are getting an offer, it's an unconditional offer. So try to start processing your transcript. If you don't have an international passport, start that. If you don't have your work references, start that. You know, things like that. Please send us a message and we can take you through the process. Now, when everything is done and complete, you will get an outright unconditional offer, which actually helps you speed up the process. Because if you put in an incomplete application and get a conditional offer, it might still take you weeks or even months before you can now convert it to an unconditional offer, which also wastes time. You said, but I think some universities don't require IELTS. Yes, a lot of universities don't require IELTS if you have WAEC. So they take WAEC, and a lot of them also take NECO. So most of them minimum of C6, right? So but some of them will say minimum of C5, such as University of Hull, you must have a minimum of C5. While some don't take WAEC, such as University of Law, you must either write IELTS or write their own. Okay, so they take WAEC, but not older than 5 years. So you must, and even at that, you will still do an interview, like an English interview, because WAEC does not assess your speaking ability. So they will still interview you English, as in for the purpose of you speaking, to see if you can actually speak well. So, but a lot of schools, your WAEC will suffice. If your WAEC is, less than 10 years, you have more options. If your WAEC is from maybe 2000 to like 2010, your schools might be limited, right? But from 10 years and below, you have more options, because most schools would rather take WAEC that are not too old. You get? But you will still have options. Please don't quote me. You will still have options, but your options might be limited. But what you just mentioned is part of the requirements. I don't know what I just mentioned, because I mentioned a whole lot of things. Okay, so we have done a lot. I think I'm just going to take the next question that comes in. So lucky person, if you have a question, put it in, and then I'm going to answer them. Then we're going to call this a day. I want to appreciate every single person that has joined the live today. It has been a great one, and I am happy that all of you really understand and appreciate the information that we're giving. This live is going to be in our on our page. It's going to be on our YouTube, going to be everywhere on our socials, right? So you can always go back and watch. If you have further questions, this is why we're here. I cannot tell you everything. They're just too much, and everybody has peculiarities that are peculiar to them or their family situations. So I cannot answer everything. So that is why we have counselors. When you use this information to make decisions, then you can confirm that your decisions are right when you reach out to us. So we have several counselors' numbers. WAEC is submitted, is the transcript and not certificate. Will that affect my chance of getting an education? WAEC is submitted, is the transcript and not certificate. I don't understand. Is it WAEC certificate or WAEC transcript? Is that a WAEC transcript? Is it the official WAEC that you get from WAEC? If it is the official WAEC that you get from WAEC, then it's fine. Right? That's the certificate, I think. But if you don't have a WAEC certificate, you can upload a scratch card so that you can check it online. If it's the printout you have, you upload a scratch card. It won't affect your chances, because they can just tell you to either write an English test or produce an English test. So all you need to do is just produce it. So it won't affect your chances. If you are qualified, they will still give you. You jumped questions again. I'm sorry. If you please, I don't know with the question I am jumping. You have been jumping questions, so there is a new face that next. I'm not new. Please go through the page. You will see my face very, very well. Have I been jumping questions? Hey God, and I want to end this live, and these people say I've been jumping questions. Where do you get web agency? Can I get names? I'm trying to scroll through to see what questions I have jumped. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't see. How much is NHS? So it depends on, it's not NHS, IHS, International Health Surcharge. NHS is Nigeria, right? But for the UK, it's called IHS. Well, for the payment you have to do anyways, it's called IHS. It depends on your course. So it's around 990 something dollars, because it's charged in dollars when you're going to pay. But it's the equivalent of the pound value, which is about 600 and something pounds. I can't see the exact figure. But when you get to that page, it fluctuates. Sometimes it's 980 something, 970 something, 960 something, 990 something, depending on the exchange rate between dollar and pounds on that day. Now that's for a 1-year course. If it's for a 2-year course, it's almost if not more than $1,700. If it's for an 18-month course, it's around $1,000 to $1,300. So it fluctuates. So I won't be able to give you an exact price, because once you hit there, you will see it. But you should budget for what I've just said. So if you're doing a 1-year course, just budget with $1,000 and it will fly. most schools don't accept Benin certificate. No. Most schools will not accept it. What they will do, what some schools might do is, if you've gone to a Benin school, what you can do is have work experience. So if you can have up to 5-year work experience or more, in most cases more, right? Don't quote me anyway, most cases more. They can consider your work experience and use that to rate you, to consider if they can actually admit you. But if you're a fresh graduate or you've not had extensive work experience, especially in a managerial or supervisory role, they will not accept it because they have not assessed Benin certificate to be at par with their own standard. Maybe they can go to France, basically, but especially most of their private universities. Maybe if you go to Benin Republic state school, like their government school, maybe you might actually find some universities that might take you. But you see, most of those are private universities. Most of them are not recognized. All right, so I think they are already telling me that I have to end this live. Please give us a breakdown of how much visa fee and IHS and tuberculosis. Okay, so for IHS, like I just said, if you have a 1-year course, it's about 1,000. Visa fee is about $500, right? I'm doing in dollars because when I do visas, I see this money in dollars, so I can't be doing the pound equivalent. Visa fee is about $500. However, it fluctuates, so it can be 490 something, 480 something, 470 something, depending on what the exchange rate between dollar and pound as at the time you are applying, right? The fee is constant in pounds, but because you're paying in dollar, it takes the exchange rate at that day, to determine what you're going to pay, right? So when you are doing a 1-year course, what I tell people is just budget 1,500, your IHS and your visa fee. Now, visa fee remains constant, but IHS will change depending on the length of your course. So if you're doing a 2-year course, budget around 1,700. If you're doing an 18-month course or a 15-month course or thereabout, budget around 1,200 to 1,300 or 1,400, depending, around that figure. That's for your IHS. Then tuberculosis is about 57,000, I think. Yeah, for children it's about 27,000. So is it 53,000 for adults, 27 for children? I'm not very sure, but 50-something thousand for adults, 20-something thousand for children. So that's the fee. I hope I answered the question. Okay, so you jump question about proof of funds and deposits into the school accounts. Okay, so I answered proof of funds. Somebody asked me if for rate of proof of funds, and I said we don't give advice on that. We don't advise on companies that you can maybe use for proof of funds and things like that. We don't give advice on that. But if you want to know when to start counting your bank statement and all that, I think I've already answered that. For visa, you need 28-day bank statement. For your CAS, you also need 28-day bank statement. I advise you to start on time so that you can upload your CAS on time. And when you get your CAS, you can apply for your visa immediately. So if your money is complete in your bank statement, the same bank statement you use to apply for your CAS is what you use to apply for your visa. Do you get? So same bank statement. So if you want to apply for all your family at once, have all the money in there for your CAS, and right after, once your CAS drops, use it to apply for your visa. How can I pay the IHS and visa fee? Can I use trade system? You can't use trade system. You have to pay with your own card. So you can have an international dollar card or pound card or whatever international card, and you have to fund this account. So I don't know how you're going to fund it. If you're going to be black market, if you're able to get dollar, I don't know, but you pay by yourself. You can't use the trade system. How much for each dependent? In what sense? The each dependent will pay what you're paying for IHS and what you're paying for visa. Everybody's paying the same thing, right? But when it comes to maintenance fee, their own maintenance fee in your account should be 6,120, the equivalent of 6,120, and that would go for each dependent. So if you have 5 dependents, that's 6,120 pounds times 5. If it's 2, 6,120 pounds times 2. For you, if you're going into London, it is 12,006 pounds. If you're going outside London, it's 9,207 pounds. So make that calculation. You are really awesome. Please, how often will you be coming on live? You are just too good at what you do. You don't jump anything again. You've tried a bit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's clever, Chevy. This is a very good compliment and it's making my head swell. So I will try to tell the team that actually scheduled this live to put me on soon again, but I don't know if it will be for a couple of weeks because they actually have some things that are already planned. But anytime I'm here, I'm always excited to have you guys. So with this, I'm going to say bye. It's already 1:30 and I'm supposed to have ended by now. So thank you all. Please, this is going to be on our YouTube and it's also going to be on our Instagram page, and I think it's going to be on Facebook as well. So if there's anything I have not said, or if there's anything you haven't caught, go back and watch the video. If there's anything that you want to know, please message our counselors. If you want me, request for roles, right? They will send you a direct link to my WhatsApp and you'll be able to chat with me. So with this, I'm going to say bye, and please have a great week or remainder of your week, and happy Easter in advance. Bye.